Right.
Hello, welcome again to another Real Estate Live at Lunch. Today we have DJ Colter with us.
Hi,
Welcome.
Glad to be here.
We're going to just sit back and hold tight here for a couple minutes and hopefully get a few of you guys to tune in and watch, but feel free to interact. We want it to be interactive. Post questions, whatever you have for DJ here. He's our guru and you're ready.
Some days. Do the best I can.
We're going to bring it on.
Glad I'm not getting paid a ton to do this, so I can't have too high expectations.
Well, so DJ, feel free to just kind of share a little background on yourself.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
Well, I've been in the insurance industry for 14 years now. We've been insuring, auto, homes, business, farms, life insurance. That's the 5 main insurances that we take care of. Obviously, really specializing in the auto home. That's where American Family and our agency is focused. So we've been doing it 14 years. Have a team of 6 staff.
Oh.
I've been really blessed to have a really good team now. So we try to help everyone we can with any tech with those insurance needs. So,
Very cool.
Yeah.
And NDSU ties?
Yeah. Well, I actually grew up in eastern Montana. I went to school at the University of Montana. And then I was teaching school in Portland, Oregon. That's where I met my wife, who's a teacher in our area. And so my wife's got her master's from NDSU. I have a lot of ties to NDSU because I helped do some media stuff and did their buys and pregame shows. So a lot of people have been connected there in a lot of ways. So, follow obviously NDSU, and now my wife's an alumni, so connected to a lot of areas, schools from this area. So, grew up in Montana, ended up out here. Now we have a family, have 3 daughters that keep me broke and happy. One's a 12-year-old and twins that are 7, so they're a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep.
Well, we're so excited to have you.
Absolutely.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we're excited to have you guys again. I'm Kyle Olson with Keller Williams. We got Lindsay Sphere here with Rubicon Mortgage, and we're going to kind of dig in a little bit into kind of how the home insurance works and how that affects maybe your purchase, maybe what thoughts you have, or what you can do to help you with your house on a day-to-day basis, and kind of what the importance of home insurance and other insurance is to keep you going. So we've got a couple we're going to throw out some questions here to DJ over the course of the 30 minutes here. But if you guys have anything online, feel free to drop them in the comments there. We'll ask them to DJ as well. And we'll be able to help you guys out in any of those questions. So the first one we have is home insurance required? That's a quick question.
Well, it's, unless you got, a rich uncle that can pay for your home, most people need to have, the banks require it. And, how your policy is set up is, they usually have some minimum requirements. But that's up to you. I always tell people, when you think in life, what's the most expensive thing you're probably going to buy over your lifetime? And that's why it's so important for anyone out there to understand that, I think the old days when I started 14 years ago, guys, everyone could call around and it was the same price for every home for everyone. And that's where in the last 10 years, home insurance has really, really changed. And if anyone gets anything out of this conversation, it's just that they get educated. Being a former teacher, I think that's just, the insurance world, I've tried to always model our practice after just educating people that, the industry's really changed and the companies aren't making money. 10 to 12 years ago, 40 companies left the state of North Dakota.
Wow.
Because they weren't making money. So it's, I always tell people, in the last 10 years, insurance companies have had to change to make it. They've either had to raise premiums or get rid of some coverages. And, with this being possibly your biggest investment of your life, and one thing too, this is not a maintenance policy. People have a misconception, my furnace went out, DJ, can you put in a new furnace? Well, unless it's a covered loss, like some of the stuff we've seen in the last week, and, especially the lakes area with all the wind and hail and, that's tornadoes that have gone through lately, that's when it's needed.
Okay,
so
right.
So what features of a home can affect the costs and the premium of having homeowners insurance?
Yeah, and that's really it's got to change because of this. Home insurance is, the underwriters have really had to delve into each risk is unique. So I could have 10 different people call for the same house, and all our premiums are going to be different. And every company's like that. Because credit obviously has become a big player now, involved with, just like it's always been for your guys' world, and how people gets on a rate and how much they can buy a house for. Credit's a big part of it. But now there's things that are unique in the sense that, the age of home has always been there, but now the age of the roof, when things have been updated on maybe the electrical, plumbing and heating, furnace, all those types of, scenarios can be a big part in how a home's going to be priced out. Also, you got to think of, is a company a stock company? Is it a mutual company? There's things that, how far do they live out of town? One thing I was telling people that, after 12 miles, statistics have shown that if a fire starts, it's a 97% total loss. So there's things now, they've gotten those, there's things like wood stoves, there's types of, does people have dogs? But in our area, the big thing is what's their roof? Roofs are a big deal around here with the hail and wind we get. So the age of roof can be a big deal. One that's gotten unique is the location of washer and dryer.
Okay.
Because that can be, what level if you have a loss.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that's, every company rates it a little different. So I'm just kind of going generally in the industry.
What level do they want it on?
Well, the lower the
Basement?
better. The better, because if it's up top. So, there can just be problems. Things to think of, too, is big deal is frequency. If people have a bunch of small claims, that's not good to have anymore.
Okay.
You don't, if the insurance companies have been losing money, you just don't want a lot of small claims.
Right.
So frequency can be a big deal.
Okay.
So those are things that can play into but obviously credit's a big part of it.
Okay, very cool. No, that's good to know. All good information. And as far as basic coverage versus, I guess, what else? If I just say, hey, I'm going to get a homeowner's insurance policy, what does that cover? What does it not?
I get a lot too, just like going to the discounts part. One thing that's new too is the technology world, like the things like Nest and Ring and all the different. The more technology advanced you can be at, like fire and burglar alarms and having eyes in your home to that are able to predict and protect stuff. That's a huge discount on your premium.
Okay.
What to look for? I always tell people probably the top two things we get around here is obviously. Let's just talk about seasonal. In the winter time where you can get, you're going to deal with frozen pipes. We have a lot of ice dams and those things on roofs, when it melts and then it backs up underneath the shingles and can cause damage. Then you get in the summertime. Here's what I always tell people that they forget about is in the summertime, sewer backup sump pump. That is one of the biggest claims. I would encourage anyone that has any type of finished basement to look at getting that coverage. A lot of companies don't give you you can't get a lot of coverage. That's something really important to look at.
So some pump
get
isn't,
educated.
that's not automatically included?
No.
Okay.
And that's a big deal in premium when you're coming to closing.
Right.
And people say, well, why is this $200 higher? Well, this is sewer, you got $25,000 to sewer backup.
Right.
That's a big deal. And I've paid out so many claims in the last 14 years on sewer backup sump pump. Another thing to think about too, another one that people laugh at is I get tons of jewelry. We have a lot of personal property losses. People forget that they need to schedule types of like jewelry. Okay. So I get a lot this time of year. DJ, I'm on the boat and I set my ring down and it's in the lake, or I'm washing dishes and it popped out and the plumber can't get it out of the sink. We get a lot of claims like that.
Sure.
Okay.
So those are assets that you want to, make sure that are protected and to go over, and that all changes premium. So.
Wow, that's a lot to think
Yeah,
about.
and that's what people are talking where. A lot of people are taking the old days of the $500 low deductibles are gone.
Right.
People take high deductibles and then they schedule those things with zero deductibles, and sewer backup can have a lower deductible. So a lot of clients now take $2,500, deductibles to help protect, because there's no use paying the extra premium.
Right.
And because you don't want a bunch of small claims anyway.
Exactly.
I always tell people the days of the neighborhood boy throwing the ball through the window or your bike being stolen, you just don't want to turn those claims in. So you might as well just self-insure those, save the $200 to $400 a year in premium, and self-insure that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all great.
That's fantastic.
What do you have for him, Kyle?
What, when we're looking for a home, what kind of things should we be bringing to you, saying that maybe this is going to be different in this house? We might be able to bring those numbers down for them.
Yeah. Here's a great thing that people they never know what something needs to be insured for. So when people buy a home, they call us and say, DJ, I bought the home for $180,000, $280,000, $380,000, whatever range you want to do. Well, and it appraises at this, is assessed for this. Well, what do we need to insure it for?
Right.
Well, if you buy a great deal downtown, an older home that you're getting half the price if we were to rebuild it, we have to insure it for it. And that's what you want.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal that I would just encourage you and everyone out there to make sure their home's at, within 80% of replacement costs. Another thing too, that's a huge penalty in a loss. And let's say your house is now within that 20% and the policy's built where you could have a co-insurance penalty and you only get paid out, say it's a $100,000 loss, and you only get paid out 60-70% because the prices have jumped up and you're not in the ballpark. That's a lot of money, and that's a huge issue. So those are things that is your house insured for replacement costs? That's the number one thing I would say. Things to be looking at too, but I would encourage people out there is look at your siding, your roof, flooring. Some companies now that after 10, 15, 20 years, they go from replacement cost to actual cash value.
Okay.
So that's a big deal what if you have, you buy a house and the roof's, 16 years old, and you didn't know, and you have a big hailstorm next week, and it's instead of getting a check for $12,000, you get a check for $4,500.
Right.
For your shingles, that can be a really big deal. So I'd encourage people to understand that's really changed a lot in the last 5 years.
American Family can offer that full replacement?
Yep. Well, on certain products, we have now choices that clients can make. Just have some of our certain products that a lot of our classic policies have that. Some of our newer ones, and a lot of it too is. When shingles, the big number out there is kind of 15 years. When shingles, misconception, these are 30, 40, 50-year-old shingles. Well, insurance companies have data that really after 15, 20 years, we get any type of hail, we're replacing it.
Okay.
So those don't always last as well from hail claims. So it varies. Every company now has different products. And that's another little thing. When you're calling around getting quotes, just knowing what questions to ask so you're not getting, a really... a tough scenario where you're not sure. Right?
Sure. Well, looks like we have a question coming in up here. 1 second here. How do fences and deck claims work? Should you claim them or just pay them out of pocket? That's coming in from Chase. Thanks for the question.
I would say that those are fences and decks aren't. It depends on the total loss out there. So I would get an estimate, figure out what it's going to cost, look at your deductible. Let's say your deductible's $1,000. And it's $1,250 of a loss. Is it worth it to have a small claim? I always tell people, but let's say, we just had a bunch of claims in Lakes area. My own, lake place had some issues, and my neighbors, I had neighbors that, their pontoons got flipped over. There's trees on houses. So those are things that you got to say, okay, what's this cost? We're looking at docks, all those things are unique with lake places. That's considered personal property. And you guys deal with a lot of lake places. We see that around here. So that can be tied into it. So looking at, is it bad to turn in a fence and deck claim? If it's a good chunk over it, it's as long as it's weather related, you guys, the big thing to remember, water and fire claims where negligence can be involved. That's where insurance companies start getting concerned and worried. When it's weather related, those don't ding you as much. A lot of companies, you still keep your claim free discount. It's when you get into, a lot of water and fire losses is when those get ugly and can hurt you. And some companies will cancel you very fast.
Right.
So I have a question on those hail storms that come through. Do they let you know that you should have your roof checked, or should you just call up and say, hey, we had some hail? You want to come out and take a look, or what kind of things am I looking for?
That's a great question. We do a lot, like in the last week with the Lakes area. Some people are like, DJ, did I get hail? Well, I don't know if you got hail. What I would encourage you to do is have a contractor come look at it. Get an estimate. If they see hail, now sometimes we call it neighboritis, or some of the contractors want to make a buck, and they might see very minimal. So, but if usually a lot of times you see it on fascia, look around your windows. The fascia, you'll see where the dents are in it. I was just out at some claims here west of our area and some clients, and you could see certain parts. And a lot of times too with hail, just so everyone knows, a lot of times hail only hits one or two sides because it comes at an angle on a house. It also hits, certain, just maybe not the whole part of the roof. That's another thing too I didn't say earlier. If you have T-lock shingles, insurance companies don't like those anymore because those get one little ding, they have to replace those. So those are little things to be, when you're looking at and quoting a home and buying a home, if someone's out there buying a home and they have T-lock shingles, I would really encourage them to try to figure out how to get new shingles on as soon as possible.
So if they're looking to buy a home, it'd be worthwhile coming in to talk to you about kind of what things they can make changes.
And we just try to educate all of us. There's many good insurance professionals and good insurance companies out there. I always tell people, you pay a lot of money in premium. Think how much you pay annually. If we were to look each other eyes, everyone pays thousands for auto, home, all their stuff. So if you pay that much money, I would encourage you every year or two to sit with whoever you do your insurance with and have them get to know you and what's going on in your life and what you're buying and what you're looking at. Whenever you're looking to buy new vehicles, get them the VIN number and they can tell you what premiums are going to change. When you're looking at a house, let your insurance professional know kind of the ballpark, what you're looking at. They can give you a quote before you buy it so you can have all that figured in. That's just getting ahead of the game. That helps you guys. It helps us. Yeah. Everyone wins in that situation when someone's getting ahead of the game.
And that's one good thing to note, too, when you're talking about premium on the lending side. Typically, people escrow for their insurance and their taxes, and that affects how much they can qualify for. So being able to contact your agent, like DJ, and get a quote on a house before you actually make that offer can help you, because depending on the property, it could change it by a couple $100 a month, especially if you have flood insurance.
Yeah, and that's all set up between how you guys do the closing and all that. So sometimes they're paying us and start the policy. Most of the time it's paid through closing, but everyone does it different, and we'll do it whatever the lender is requiring, we'll fill in there. And now you get into a tough one of flood insurance. This is no insurance agent in the last 5 years wants to talk about this because it is constantly changing, and it's been, I don't know if people understand that flood insurance is by the government. So there's some other private carriers coming in the market, but a regular flood insurance has been very frustrating for many years around here. And we can never get definite answers working with so it's more and more now with rates going up 15% pretty much every year. That's can be frustrating for a lot of people.
So with the current flood map, how old is it? Is there going to be another one coming soon? Do you know? Are you privy to that?
As far as knowing those answers, I'm not privy to that, but we just use what we currently have. Yeah. A lot of people, just to get in a preferred policy, if you're not in a high-risk area, most of those are still in that 400, anywhere from 350 to 500 annually. You pay in advance. You have a 30-day wait on those policies, but then you start getting into high-risk areas, and with the new flood map that's been adopted here in the last year or two and how that's changed. Now, for you guys, if you buy a house and it's in the new flood zone, and the lender requires, it has nothing to do with us, the lender requires that. What you want to do is if you can buy a house in the proposed floodplain and take over that policy and transfer that is a win-win for everyone involved.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
So I've always told all of our clients that even didn't have a lender, maybe they've had their home for many years, that was going in the new proposed floodplain in the last couple of years, get a policy in force.
Right.
Yes, it's going to go up some, but then it'll help the value of your home when you sell that. Most people out there, it's too late for that. But they can at least look at some options. And with some of these new, that's going to constantly change. So that's something that if you have flood insurance or going to need flood insurance or curious about it, just talk to your insurance professional, because that's going to change. And that's a whole nother animal. I would just encourage people this, though. I'll tell you a story. And in 2007, I had 2 clients lose their homes. One had flood insurance and one didn't. And when people say that it doesn't cover anything, I've delivered a pretty big check to help someone that needed their flood insurance to get back to where they were. So I've seen flood insurance be quite an asset to people. And when things are bad and those high premiums, it doesn't matter then. And there's a reason it's those high premiums, and because people understand flood insurance has been losing money. If you're running a business and it's been losing money for 20, 30, 40 years, that's just the way it's always been.
So it looks like we've got quite a few people out there. I put up there again. I'm going to challenge anybody who can stump DJ here.
I think I saw a question up there.
We're going to give you guys some free ice cream. So let's check and see if we got a question up here. 1 second. You guys keep talking.
Don't stump my friends, because they're coming after me.
We have a question from Maggie. Will your insurance get dropped if your shingles are not in good condition?
That's a great question, and every company looks at that different. You can be dropped. I mean, with certain companies, I've heard of that. A lot of companies now will just put an endorsement, like an actual cash value endorsement. So if your shingles, you've had it in place, most good insurance companies, since they've been losing so much money, they every 5 years inspect your home. And like all of our clients, I tell them this is a good thing, because insurance is real simple. It's all of us passing a hat around. If us 3 started an insurance company, be us throwing in money every year, and if something bad happened, it's going to affect us the next year. So with our reinsurers, people also understand that insurance companies buy reinsurance. to help protect them.
Okay.
So there's requirements from your reinsurers in certain areas what they want. So roofs and properties, every 5 years, I know we go out and inspect them, and we send out letters to our clients, or we con them and say, hey, these are things that underwriting's concerned about that we need to address. When shingles are curling, and you guys, most of the time they're 20 to 30 years old and should be replaced, because when we get those big storms and water starts leaking through and then causes so much damage underneath and inside your house, that's why the shingles need to be done. It's the water damage that gets underneath there and causes damage both in the wintertime and in when that melts, those ice jams happen, but also in the summer. So yes, you can be dropped. Most companies will at least give you go to actual cash value for a few years. You don't get replacement costs. You just get the value. It's kind of like how your auto's paid out. You just get the value of what, an auto insurance, no offense, we'd all like to go wreck our vehicles and get brand new vehicles, but that's not how auto insurance works. It's actual cash value. So that's how home insurance works too. It goes to that actual cash value. So whatever your shingles are worth, that's what you get paid. But some companies will drop you, and I just encourage everyone out there to stay on top, keeping your shingles in good shape.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
If you get dropped from one company, you can go to another one?
Everyone's different. Everyone looks at that. They're going to come out. And the hardest part is you get in that situation. You get dropped. If your claims history is bad with negligent claims, or you look at, what the shingles is citing, a lot of companies won't take you. One last thing to take too. Big deal with this is figured in is your auto insurance. Your auto insurance is such a big part of this, and that's such a competitive industry. Most people, we're such a good fit for the person with the auto home umbrella package.
Right.
We're kind of that Costco mentality of bundling with a higher end good products. That's where certain companies that they just focus on auto insurance, and some companies just focus on home, where that package is certain companies like someone like us, that's where we're the best fit for.
So we're going to take just a second. I think we've got one or two other questions. You want to just
I'll
see what we've got up there? Thank you guys so much for, again, here with DJ Colter, with DJ Colter Agency and American Family. So we're so happy that you're here, and we appreciate all the feedback and the questions that we're getting from you guys. That's exactly what we want it to be. We want it to be informational and interactional.
We got some great questions here. It looks like DJ's friends are having fun here.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Tyler's asking, are you a Bison or a Grizz fan?
Both.
Both?
My blood is Grizz. I went to school there, of course. When the Grizz play the Bison, I'm always going to be a Grizz fan first, because that's where I went to school. I mean, the blood is thicker in water, but my wife's now a Bison alum, so they don't play that often. It's usually not that big a deal. We can cheer for both of them.
And I think Chase is trying to get that free ice cream, but it has to be an insurance question. His question is, though, spell Boots' last name.
Yeah. So Chase and I played college football together. What's up, Chase? And I would say we played with a guy named Jeremiah Bootenshaw, and if I had to spell that, you're going to have to send that guy. He lives in Billingsville. You're going to have to send him ice cream, because Boot, I'm sorry, I would never, ever try to butcher that online. So I'm sorry about that. Wow, that's funny. That's good, Chase. We're going to have to send you. But the problem is, Chase, by the time we get it out there, it might melt by the time it gets to Billings. So we'll try to get it on some type of, maybe, I don't know if Schwann's runs out there. We'll have to send you a Schwann's guy to your office. That's funny.
Well, keep them coming, guys. We want to try and stump DJ again. Kyle with Keller Williams here has offered some free ice cream to anybody who can stump DJ with an insurance question.
One thing I wanted to share with you guys, and we see this a lot. I talk to a lot of claims adjusters. My brother-in-law is a really good claims adjuster, and people with 40 different companies as an independent. We have our local claims adjuster, Lynn Brandenberger, is head of our North Dakota, South Dakota for 25 years from this area, and I was talking to him about the biggest things they see, and I would just encourage you guys. I was going to read off the 4 things. If you're ever gone in the winter, you go on a trip for 10 days, maintaining heat in your home. That's a big deal. We get a lot of frozen pipes in our area. Keeping that, trying to keep it 60 degrees and above. A lot of times, too, keeping the cabinet doors open for the kitchen sink and vanities to help if they're up against an outside wall. Can be a big deal.
Okay.
We deal with a lot with sump pump failure, and we see a lot of the float sticking. So making sure you're looking at your sump pump annually is a big deal.
And there's systems out there that'll help you keep track of that stuff and notify you as well.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yep, and that's some of you get the discounts when you have, like I said, the Nest and the Ring and those technology.
Okay.
When you have that'll help you. I know I have a system that gets a hold of me. They call right away when
Awesome.
anything.
Sure.
Last thing I'll say is, and this is all with you guys, just so people understand out there, if they're trying to sell a home and they own it, and they're trying to transfer that obviously to someone else, the land and the deed and the asset there. They need to make sure they get the claim resolved before it's sold.
Okay.
So let's say a lot of times, okay, a hail happens, we're trying to get this paid out, they take the money, they're waiting for a contractor, oh, we got to move, we're going to sell, we're going to upgrade, and then they sell it, and they think, oh, we'll be able to take care of that. Well, once the house is sold,
Right.
that's not how it happens. So I just encourage anyone, if you have an existing claim like that, no, some of them are tough. Obviously, the liability. One thing we haven't talked about, the number one claim year in and year out nation. Well, I don't know if anyone out there knows that. I should throw that out there. Have some guessing games.
Yeah.
If any of you know the number one claim year in and year out nationwide, it's a liability claim. I'll give you a hint on that. It's not related to our, the weather we get up here, but this might surprise everyone out there what that is, and we'll see if anyone's out there. The number one claim year in and year out on homeowners, so people know about it. The last thing I'll say is we call it neighboritis. There's certain times that homes get hit, and certain hail can be streaky. Does everyone remember the hail we had here last fall? There's certain parts where parts of North Fargo got hit, and remember in 07, it was South Moorhead, and maybe some of South Fargo got hit, but it wasn't. So everyone thinking that, no, we have hail around here, I for surely have a claim, and does it get paid out? That's we call it neighboritis. So I'd encourage everyone to have contractors look. We have an answer up here, and guess what? That's my buddy Jerry Benefeld. He's American Family Agent in Valley City. So all you Valley City people out there, get a hold of Jerry. But he's right. Dog bites is number one. Good job, Jerry. So dog bites is number one in the nation, year in and year out. So people don't understand. I don't know if you just saw the forum in the last 2 days. They're having a benefit for a little girl who got bit by a dog. So, and you'd be surprised some of the dogs out there, some of the Akitas and Chows and certain things that can. So I'd encourage, if you have a dog, you're looking at a dog. That's one thing that can be rated on there.
And I've actually run into that where I had a home buyer that they were purchasing a home, and they had, I believe it was a pit bull, or they were planning on purchasing a pit bull, and they had a really tough time getting homeowners insurance.
Yeah, sure. And that's tough because everyone loves their animals, and you want to make sure that you can, take care of them and provide for them. But the truth is, and I know a lot of people out there, they're so emotionally attached, and my dog would never bite anyone, and I've had it forever, but there's just statistics have shown that some of those certain, a lot of people have those wolf hybrids in them. They don't even realize there's a lot of things out there. So those are smart things. A couple other things that people don't always forget that I wanted to take some notes on and talk about a little bit was swimming pools. Most companies make you have some type of fenced or a removable cover that goes over the top that's electrically managed cover that goes back and forth. Trampolines, some allow them, some don't. Some make you put a screen. Daycares. I'd encourage anyone out there that has in-home daycare. Most companies don't go over 2 or 4 or 6 kids. So if you take your kids to in-home daycare, I would encourage you, if something happens, your kid gets bit, bite, I would encourage you highly to ask, see their insurance policy. So every company's different. Sometimes you have to have its own separate policy. Small business, and some people cut hair out of there, and that's an endorsement you need. Lake lots, maybe they have hot tubs. There's an endorsement you need for freezing of hot tubs that you need to have. Those are things that's why the communication with your insurance agent to make sure they know so they can help you. One thing out there with the sewer backup sump pump, there's a big misconception that when water leaks in from cracks, the way our houses move around here, we have cracks in walls and floors. There's no coverage out there for that. That's not covered. It's only covered if sewer backs up or sump pump fails. Okay. So there's a lot of waterproofing issues out there that people don't understand, that the drain tile over time clogs up. It doesn't last forever, and so you might have to dig it up and replace it on the outside or inside of the house.
So if I'm building a new home, what's the advantage to possibly doing like a floodproof basement or things like that as far as premium goes? Does that help out with that?
Well, we take that in. Every company looks at it a little different. Now, in building a new home, I don't think you can build a new home unless it's a floodproof basement. Now, that might change. We're hearing more and more that could change with different rulings and the diversion getting closer and closer. Everyone's at a point now where I would just always encourage, make sure you have one thing we see out there, people just have one sump pump. a lot of times that can't handle it. Most basements need 2 sump pumps, and I would put them on.
I've got 3 in mine.
Yeah, I have 3 or 4. I have 3 or 4 in mine because the last 14 years of seeing all the sewer. I mean, I just had last year. You guys had a client that closed on a beautiful new home within 30 days. The sump pump didn't work. Now, are we subrogating and going after the manufacturer and all that because it was a bad product? But that's still you don't want to have to. You want to make sure you have the coverage, so we'll pay out and then subrogate and go after them by themselves. So that's kind of how that works.
Yeah. What was Darren's?
Let's see what Darren's got up here.
Darren says false.
I guess, yeah.
You'll have to elaborate
Must be
on
about the dog
what
bites,
part was false.
Darren.
Well, no, it was either that's Darren, but I believe he's works with home building. So if you've got more to add to anything that we mentioned there, Darren, feel free to elaborate.
He's just probably giving me garbage. So I'm waiting for all those people out there.
Well, one other question that I had is, and when it comes to buying and selling, when does the homeowner's insurance coverage start? And say I want to move stuff into a home before I've actually purchased it. How does that work as far as whose policy covers what?
Well, it starts when we start buying coverage, as far as whatever you give us an effective date or whatever you're closing. We're trying to get that set up on that date. People sometimes need to move in personal property beforehand, so they can we can start coverage before if it's needed. There's unique situations. Just educate your insurance company on that. So on that scenario. So. Yeah, that's the big deal as far as, and I don't know, Darren might have been talking a little bit about, some of the flood proofing and where it needs to be built and, where certain areas that it needs to be flood proof and some place it does. I know that. So those are always kind of things that that those builders and those guys are going to deal with. So yes.
So yes, he was talking about the floodplain. You can build in an area without flood.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring out.
And yes, I was giving you garbage.
Yeah.
Certain areas and developments with.
That's good, Darren. No, I'm glad you brought that up because that's a lot more too with you guys on the insurance side. We don't deal a lot with the flood proofing side. That doesn't affect a lot. I mean, some companies, if you're building a new home, your premium's going to be less.
Right.
So, but yes, if you're building in a floodplain, you're going to have to buy flood insurance, and also some companies won't let you have sewer backup sump pump coverage if you're in a floodplain.
Okay.
So that's one thing that for people to realize out there. But yeah, as far as the builders and all you realtors, mortgage builders, and that are connected with this certain areas, and remember our area, we expand within 25 miles. So we're in 2 different states. So each state has different requirements and different laws, and so you just want to get educated and ask questions. Ask your your mortgage professional, ask your realtor professional, that's what they're getting paid to do. Ask them those tough questions. I mean, I had a client a few years back that ended up building and didn't get educated enough on the front end, and now is required to have flood insurance, and they would have never built there.
Wow.
They would have known that. And that's a major screw up by the professionals on the front end on that. So
yeah, well, hey, I think a lot of it kind of comes back to work with local professionals. There are a lot of internet sales that you can do for both the mortgage side, the insurance side, and everything. But I think a lot of times being able to work with a local professional is definitely key, because then you get the most informed, even if that doesn't necessarily mean it's the bottom dollar. You pay for what you get for it, what you get sometimes.
Yeah, and that's what I would just encourage anyone. Last thing I would just say is, when people are calling around to get quotes, get educated exactly what you're getting. If you're just calling to give them one number, it's going to be all over the place for coverage. It's easy to get cheap premiums if you don't have any, but you might have, for a few $100 more, you might get the coverage you really need. And I always encourage our clients, take higher deductibles, self-insure the smaller stuff. Remember why you're buying home insurance is to protect you for when the big fires, the tornadoes, we just had we've been lucky. We are due in the Fargo market area to have a tornado or major, like we just saw last week through Hillsborough, through the lakes area, that 80 to 100 mile straight line wind that's just going to tear roofs, siding, trees. You're just going to have that could be a disaster, and you want to make sure what coverage you have in those situations.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, DJ. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate all the interaction. That's what we're here for. Like DJ's page, like Kyle Olson's page, and like my page, and we'll be coming back to you again soon.
We'll be live tomorrow at 12:30 talking about the buying process process and selling process with Lindsay and myself. And so feel free to follow this post, like us on Facebook. And
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate
yes,
it.
thank you so
Anytime.
much.
Thanks
I
for having me on.
appreciate it.